Greetings and happy holidays, everybody. My name is Ben, and welcome back to the 12 Sprues of Christmas. This is build day number 8, and today we are going to choose another kit out of our random box, and we're going to push forward and see if we can't build it. Now, before we get started, though, I did want to mention one brief thing. Initially, I had envisioned this whole series being done on the 25th, on Christmas Day. Unfortunately, that's just not going to happen. I've been having a lot of fun with each individual model, and I'm probably taking a little bit too much time doing a little extras here and there, so we're not going to be able to make it by the 25th. But that doesn't really matter because we're still within the month of Christmas, so I'm going to go ahead and call this the 12 Sprues of Christmas month. All of December, we're going to go ahead and extend this build series out to the very end of the month. Now, I might even post the last episode on the 1st of the year, but we'll see how it all goes. Basically, though, I'm not going to be able to finish by the 25th, but that's okay. I think we are well within our right to just push it out, continue building. Speaking of building, let's go ahead and see what kit we have in store for us today. Here's our official 12 Sprues of Christmas drawing box. As you can see, we have one completed row. We are almost done with the second row, and well, we have one row left. This is going to be the kit for us today right here. I'm really excited to see what we have in here because I have been building some really awesome kits by Revell. So I know I have a couple more in the stash. We might see one of these in here. I don't know. Punch on through. Feel around here and see if we can't figure out what we're building today. Okay. Oh, I think I've got it. Okay, it's a small piece of paper. Let's see. All right. Oh, this is interesting. It's actually Zvezda. It's a 1/144 scale IL-2 Stromovic. This is the type of kit that isn't really designed for scale modeling. This is more designed for tabletop gaming. I'm pretty sure that Zvezda puts out some sort of a strategy game where they utilize these types of very tiny 1/144 scale aircraft. I know they make a Lag 3, which I have in the stash, and I know they make, I think, a Ju-87 and maybe a few others. So this is actually a very interesting challenge. Now, as you can see, we have hardly anything in this kit. We've got one sprue, we've got our stand, we've got decals, and a very flimsy piece of instructions. So you can see all the parts are double molded. We have both a top and a bottom, a front and a back. So there isn't really any need to put anything together. It's all snap tight as well, but I will be gluing it because I don't want it to come apart. This should be interesting. Of course, we've got the stand, really super simple, and we have our piece of paper that's supposed to be instructions. Here we go up here, Art of Tactic. I'm not sure what that is, but that I think is the Zvezda game that they make these models for. And again, we have like 4 steps, so I don't even know if we even need the instructions for anything. Now for the decals, we have tactical numbers from 0 to 9, and we have a set of different sized red stars. We have one clear part, as you can see, and our decals look all right. I'm not too impressed by them, but I think they should be fine, especially the fact that this is a 1/144th, and we really don't have a lot of detail we have to try and manage. On the back of the box, they do show somewhat of decal placement. It's completely incorrect, at least historically. They didn't really carry stars on the top of the wings, so we're going to try something a little bit different. We're going to do a full-on paint on this. We're going to go ahead and do a 3-color camo. We're going to prime it. We're going to do all that fancy stuff. Also, I've got one other thing I'd like to try. Now, a while back, I ordered something from a company called Prop Blur. They sent me a free gift, and this is what they sent me. Luckily enough, it's 1/144 scale blurred propeller blades for 3 bladed propellers. I also have a 1/48 scale version that they sent me that I did order for a totally different project. And as you can see, it's meant to kind of model the spinning propeller. It's kind of fun, to be honest. I'm not really used to using these types of things. I don't know. Some people like them, other people hate them, but I think they're kind of fun, and I wanted to go ahead and try it out. So I want to go ahead and use my 1/144 scale here for this propeller itself and just remove all the blades and put in the prop blurs. I think that would be kind of fun to try. Now, will it work? I have no idea. I've never used them, but I've got them. I got them for free. I might as well put them to good use and check them out. If you guys are interested in picking up some of these prop blurs for yourself, go ahead and check out propblur.com. Now, they're not sponsoring me or anything. I've never contacted them outside of just ordering parts, but I think this is kind of a quirky way to display your model, and even though it may not be 100% accurate, it's still the best you can do, especially for this small of a scale. But anyway, guys, let's go ahead and jump right on in, push through, and get this thing basically fully assembled. I'll do a little sanding, a little gluing, but other than that, it should be pretty simple. So, cue up that time lapse. Let's get this thing rocking. All right, everybody, we are finished off with the basic assembly here for our IL-2 Stromovic. And as you can see, we've got the prop blur on. We've got the wings on, the ailerons on, and that was basically the only assembly steps we had. I do want to go ahead and glue on the canopy though, because I need to go ahead and mask it off to give an impression of having clear sections and having the painted frames. So I'm going to go ahead and just glue it onto the aircraft so I don't have to try to fiddle around with this tiny little piece of clear plastic. This way, I can hold the entire aircraft and we can mask it right here on the fuselage. Should be way simpler. Honestly though, I'm not really too concerned about the accuracy of the kit or of the frames. We're just going to mask them off the best we can. Now, speaking of masking, I'm just going to go ahead and jump right in and use Tamiya tape. It works fine. I've got enough of the thin sliced Tamiya tape that I can just pop in different squares here and there, and we'll give a basic appearance of having framed glass. I don't think it'll be 100% accurate, but it's going to be good enough because honestly, it's 1/144th. There's not going to be crazy amounts of detail. It's going to be a pretty simplistic build. So let's go ahead and push on, get this all masked off, and then we'll be ready for paint. Now let's talk a little bit about paint. I intend on using the light blue and a 3-color paint scheme. We're going to use a flat earth, we're going to use a light green, and we're going to use a dark gray. That should be kind of a neat, interesting paint scheme I've never done before, and also with this scale, it's going to be challenging. Plus, there are no panel lines anywhere on this aircraft, so I'm not sure what to do about that. Usually I would use panel lines as demarcation lines between, where to put decals or where to put camo patterns. There's none of that, so I'm kind of flying blind. But we'll see how it goes. First thing though, we do have to prime, so I'll do that off camera, and we can go ahead and move ahead. All right, the IL-2 is all nicely primed. I'm going to go ahead and do a little bit of marbling coat on that. I think this actually works really well for this scale because I don't have any sort of panel lines to go ahead and pre-shade. So we're going to have to create our own. So I'm going to go ahead and use a little NATO black. We're going to drop that into the airbrush, thin it out, and I'm going to go ahead and marble the entire aircraft, and I'm going to try to darken certain sections and just give it an interesting look. At this point, I'm just kind of shooting from the hip here, guys. I don't really know how best to paint this. So I'm just going to try it out and see what happens. So back onto that time lapse. Let's get this thing one step closer to being done. All right, everybody, as you can see, we have our 3-color camo scheme done. I also took the liberty of going over and just trying to trace in a few panel lines here and there to give the appearance of there being some form of panel lines. I don't know if it works, but it looks good at 3 feet. So now we're going to move on to the decals. Now I've already gloss coated and everything is dry, so we are ready to slap these decals down. We're not going to follow the box though because none of these make any sense. Instead, I found this picture on hyperscale. This is actually what we're going to be doing. We're going to add the tactical number on the rear tail. We're going to add the 1 red star and no red stars on the fuselage and no red stars on the wings, only on the bottom of the wings. So this should be pretty simple. So like 6 decals, guys, hardly anything. This should be super simple. So let's go ahead and cue up that time lapse, push on through. And we're going to see how these decals react to microsol and microset because I've never used these decals before. So fingers crossed, everything goes well. All right, everybody, we are done with our 1/144 scale Zvezda IL-2 model 1941 Stromovic. This has been a really interesting build. Here we go with the finished product. As you can see, I have overcoated everything with a nice flat coat. We've got the decals down. We did a little bit of post shade. I added in some of those invisible panel lines that I talked about earlier. And I think, honestly, I'm not exactly impressed with the overall detail of the kit. But again, for its design, being a tabletop gaming miniature, it's not half bad. I went ahead and touched up a little bit here and there. We added some of the navigation lights. We added the rust on the exhaust stacks. We didn't add much else other than that. And I like the looks that I've got in here. I took a little bit of smoke and airbrushed some of those panel lines, as you can see. A few might be a little bit too dark. A few might be completely non-existent. But overall, I think it captures the look of the Stromovic, and I'm pretty happy with it. The underside, of course, I didn't do a whole lot down there. Just a little bit of post shading, best as I could. And I think it's passable. I threw it on the stand there because, well, it's in flight. As you can see from the prop blur, day 8 is done. Now, if you guys are interested in those prop blurs, make sure to go check out propblur.com. I think they look kind of cool. Yeah, they may not be accurate, but it adds a totally different look to an aircraft. And I think we are ready to go ahead and jump into day 9. So we're going to go ahead and call it quits for today. Thank you so much for joining me. Hope you guys enjoyed the end result. Until next episode, you know the drill. Go out there, get yourself some bench time, have some fun, build something cool, and we'll see you back here on day number 9. For the 12 Sprues of Christmas. Until then, everybody, stay safe. We'll see you soon.